This is the mother of podcasts, embracing modern womanhood, motherhood, and parenting, raw and unfiltered. Enjoy! Subscribe to Mother of Podcasts on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook. I have a very, very special guest today. Not because she is quite an experienced mother, but also because she's on a mission to help women figure out their hormonal health. Without taking away the essence of who she is, I'll ask Aarti to introduce herself. Aarti, please take the
Thank you.
platform, introduce yourself to us.
Thank you, first of all, Soumya and Chanda. You're doing such a fab job. There's a huge need for women to come together and discuss topics that no one talks about. So, hi everyone. I'm Aarti Pandey. I am 42 years young and I'm a mother of two. I have a 16-year-old teenage daughter, so you can know what I'm going through, which phase. And I have a 10-year naughty son. And yes, I run a mission called Freedom from PCOS. How it started is a very interesting and a little longer story. But let me just tell you that I've dedicated my life to ensure what I went through during my first pregnancy, no other woman should go through. So I help women conceive naturally without any pills, without any hormonal injections, no IUIs, no IVFs, because a woman's body is made in a way to conceive. And if you're not able to, it's just a matter of time and healing. So that's what my life is all about. I love to dance. I love to play sports. I'm a very, very active and a very chirpy, happy person.
Your chirpiness is very much visible in your social media presence, and to be honest, it's quite energizing whenever like your reel comes on the screen, Aarti. It's like you get like this fresh air of wow. Wow, that's some energy on a Monday.
And plus, the topics are so relatable that you feel, okay, हम भी तो ऐसे सोचते हैं, मैं भी तो ऐसे सोच रही थी, and someone is there out there expressing that you feel every day.
So I'll be very honest, I don't do any research. I just think I'm also a woman. क्या हो रहा है मेरे साथ? क्या feel कर रही हूँ मैं? And there comes a topic, and I am amazed to see the connectivity, because that made me realize कि हम सब एक जैसा ही सोचते हैं, but the voice was missing. So I'm very happy with that.
And the topics that you choose are also very interesting. Like recently, I saw this reel of yours where you talked about your husband's 50th birthday and how your co-sister, who is a co-sister, first of all?
Co-sister is husband's brother's wife.
Okay.
Jethani or Devrani. So
Devrani.
Okay.
Devrani.
So I saw that reel, and it was so mindful of you to observe that and then come out and talk about it. And it happens with all of us, but rarely people find words and good communication skills to put it out there. So I think you should also start another channel where you talk about like how to talk about stuff. There was a recent research, and I heard this on another podcast, where they said that 72% of women postpartum after delivering a child are in depression because of the Indian family system. And I am living in UK, and I don't have like a village here to bring up my child, but I glorify the Indian family system, and I love it. I love the fact that people can stay together, take care of each other, and whatever. And they are missing it here. Okay, they say that they have taken away our villages and let's create our own villages, and women come together, and there are like Facebook groups and things like that where friends go to each other's place and clean their carpets and help them with the kitchen and food and everything. But there is a certain amount of toxicity that exists in Indian households, be it your own parents or your in-laws, for both the husband and the wife. And it rules your life. It's not like it's an undercurrent. It decides the course of your day, the course of your month, the week, or whatever, and you address them in your reels. For women who are dealing with a toxic mother-in-law, or like a toxic mother for that matter, there are people, we are calling them toxic, but they don't realize that what they are doing is affecting somebody so deeply. How should they pick on it? Because Aarti, it's very easy to say that, okay, set boundaries, don't let that person put come through your boundary or whatever, but how does that happen practically? How to do it?
By not setting boundaries, Soumya, but by setting priorities. What is your priority? And the minute women will start understanding their priorities, the boundaries will set on their own. Example, my priority is that 1 hour of me time in the morning, no matter what. Okay. Now, if I want to go and exercise and it's my kids' school time, I have set that boundary at home that this is my time to go and work out. So my husband or my mother-in-law, whoever is there, will take care of getting them up, getting them ready. That's something I have set very, very clearly. The problem that happens is when women are not aware of their priorities. And when they are not aware of their priorities, they keep getting hurt. And the second thing is they never speak about it. And because they don't speak, it's all bottled up and it comes out mostly with the husbands. Husbands are clueless that suddenly what happened to, right? Because we are not addressing the root cause. Who am I and what do I want? And when we do that, everything else falls in place. Your mother-in-laws, I'll tell you, a mother-in-law or a mother, wherever they're coming from, I have come to realize with a lot of work on myself that everyone has good, bad, and ugly. Myself, you, Soumya, all of us have a good, bad, ugly. Can we recognize that and not let it affect us? How will we not let it affect us? By speaking about it to them. That, hey, मुझे ये नहीं अच्छा लगता है, इससे मुझे तकलीफ होती है. Can we not have this conversation or can you not speak about it with me? And you'll be amazed that they understand. You don't have to be disrespectful, but you have to communicate in the language they understand.
You're putting it out
The
very
challenge is
beautifully, but yeah, the challenge here, like what I feel is with most of the women, like is that, you know, first identifying your triggers. I think that is the biggest challenge. I think it's not easy to identify your triggers because I used to feel I am a very calm person all through. But the moment I got married, I just realized there is another side to me. And then after becoming a mother, I realized I have different kind of triggers. So
So, Chanda, what you're calling triggers are a secretion of hormones. And I'll tell you the biggest reason of all of this is we women don't take appointment with ourselves. We take appointments for dentists, for salons, for meetings. But the minute we start sitting with ourselves, just with ourselves, going through your thoughts, you will automatically know what triggers you, what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy. And there are mediums to do it. Journaling is one very powerful tool. Because when you start writing what was the favorite part of my day and why was I feeling the way I was feeling? I was feeling angry because I was feeling disinterested because I was happy because you start realizing your triggers. That's one way. Second is meditation. Just sitting in silence is another tool. The problem is we are so much into doing as women and we keep saying, my day is packed, my day is packed, that we forget this most important person that we have to take care of, me. And the minute I start being with myself, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, just me with myself, everything else will look too small to not be able to handle. But we don't spend that time. Tell me, how many of us say that this is my time with myself? And I'm
I'm
not
trying.
saying your time of salon, your time of dentist, your time of that is again some work.
Yeah.
Your time of nothing. But Chanda, just talking to Chanda and knowing what Chanda likes, what triggers her, what makes her happy, what makes her sad. We don't do that.
Because
And
it is
that,
also a very difficult conversation, Aarti.
yes, it's
Because
uncomfortable.
the
But
being
uh,
okay with yourself is very difficult.
goes through the most uncomfortable and the most struggleful time to become a beautiful butterfly.
Yeah.
And I have been there, so I know it. It is the most uncomfortable, but the most beautiful other side. Because then you would know there is a toxic person. And I'm telling you with experience, you think I wouldn't have come across. I'm 42, I'm married, I have kids, I have the same Indian setup. But it doesn't trigger you. You would look, you will smile, and you will know how to deal with it on your own.
So I'll tell you, I'll not name. I have a couple of friends who've been like go getters before marriage, unfortunately, ended up in a very extremely toxic family. Okay. Where the in-laws were expecting a different setup of a bahu who would like take care of them and be this person who's like an unpaid maid or whatever. But she happens to be a career girl and whatever. She was an outspoken woman, and I wanted her to be on this podcast. And the only reason she cannot is like, I can't speak out things about them, or directly or indirectly. I mean, it'll ruin my life. And I feel so sad, Aarti. I wish I could do something to change that for her, but it's only her who can deal with all of that. But yes,
No, you said another very important thing. I can't change you, you can't change me, but I can work on myself. She can work on herself. I'll tell you the biggest problem. We want to drink poison and expect the other person to die. So when I'm getting angry on my mother-in-law, I'm expecting her to change. Nothing happens to her. She's enjoying. But who's suffering? The day every woman understands by that you are expecting your mother-in-law to change, she will not. What can you do? You can work on yourself to change. That's all we can do. What is in my control is me. My other person's behavior is not in my control. How I react or respond to her behavior is in my control.
yeah,
And again, having distance is also respecting yourself. Saying no
yeah,
respectfully is also respecting yourself. The problem is we are raised in a way to disrespect ourselves to make everyone else happy. I'm not going to do that. My mother thinks I'm a rebel. I am not. I love myself before I love anyone else. That's
yeah.
the fact. So my mother always tells me, "तुम तो ना यार, the way you talk, no, you are such a rebel. You want to do something out of the society." I said, "No, I want to change the society because it's not something which is good for women.
You know,
Why should we be timid? Why should
me
we
and
be
Soumya, me and Soumya, we used to hear this thing कि अपनी पत्रकारिता ना ऑफिस में छोड़ के आया करो, घर में अपनी पत्रकारिता लेके मत आया करो.
मैं तो मेरे साथ तो आई हैव बीन लाइक अ डिबेटर ऑल माय लाइफ, आरती. सो आई हैव ऑलवेज हर्ड माय मॉम टेलिंग मी, ये अपना डिबेट ना जाकर के अपने कॉलेज में करना, ठीक है, मेरे से डिबेट मत करो. Okay, fine. So this is, so I have another very interesting question. What if the woman is the toxic person in the setting? What if, so
99% it is.
what if I am the toxic person in the setting? And how do I change myself or recognize the fact that I am the one who's disturbing the entire environment for that matter?
Beautiful. I love you for this question. Because 99% of times, the issues and the problems that are created are in a woman's mind. And that's why, Soumya, it's so important to do self work, and it starts from your hormones, it starts from your mental well being, and everything is connected with your internal health. And the minute a woman starts working on her inner self, on her health, every relation will be beautiful. Because when you change, your aura changes, you know how to deal with people. You become smarter. You don't love misery. Because when your hormones are out of whack, misery loves company. मैं दुखी, मेरे cells दुखी, मैं बेचारी, and I love to play the victim card unknowingly. Because there's a lot of work required, no, to be a leader. तो
Yeah.
चल, मैं दुखी, मैं बेचारी, और 5 औरतें ढूंढती हूँ जो मेरी तरह victim है, और हम सब मिलकर रोएंगे. It's not intentional, but it is because nobody's showing me the way to do hard work. First question, am I willing? Am I accepting that I have a challenge? And am I willing to work on it? Then you will have the paths open. I
Yeah.
always, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Because then Google, your internet, your Insta will all show you what you want.
The algorithm of the universe will lead you to your path.
You want misery, you will get all the misery. All the toxic reels are also available.
Yeah.
You want someone to tell you, speak up, you'll get those reels. You want help, you'll get those reels.
Yeah.
What are you asking the universe?
16 years since your first pregnancy, right? How was it? You told it was a difficult pregnancy. Just take 5 minutes and take us through your first pregnancy, because I know that that was a trigger for a lot of things that have happened till now with you.
So I was all of 23 when I got married. And that was my conditioning. MBA ho gaya, you are having a good job. What's next? Marriage on cards. Because life mein sab kar liya hai. So I got married. The minute I got married, what's next on cards? Pregnancy. It was a very easy conception. I was all of 24 when I conceived. And that's when it hit me that I was just looking fit. I was never obese, so I never felt none of the symptoms that I had. Anyone ever told me that, hey, this is not normal. Example, I was very, very short tempered, but everyone said, hey, you've gone on your dad. That's why you triggered so easily. Nobody told me to work on my inner self. I had very painful periods. My mom said, everyone go through it. Take this maftal. I would skip schools. I would skip college. But no one ever told me there's something wrong. And also, I conceived just like that. So I felt fine. Everything is okay. It is only when I conceived, everything that could go wrong went wrong. So I went to the doctor. I was puking all 9 months. I was pumped with injections with various names of issues that I didn't even know existed. I was forced to quit my very successful career because I was bedridden. I would feel sick all the time. And Soumya and Chanda, I felt pregnancy is sickness. I never felt that it's a part of a woman's life that you're supposed to enjoy just like you enjoy any other phase of life. And it didn't stop there. I had a cesarean because I had umbilical cord stuck around my baby's neck. So it was a premature. In 8th month, Dia was delivered. Post that, no one told me that you have to pump out milk because you could have breast abscess. This is one thing I scream and tell women. This is one of the things that no one talks. There are such little things that could become such big issues that no one talks about. And when it's done, they say, अच्छा हाँ ये हमें भी हुआ था. अरे तो आपने इसके बारे में बात क्यों नहीं की? So I had breast abscess. I went through a surgery. So I was actually feeding my girl from one side and milk was pouring like this from the other side. It was horrendous. I would smell of milk and I felt my life is over. This is it. I was wearing my mom's clothes and I lost my confidence and I felt depression and I'm very sure of it, but I didn't know the term then. So I couldn't really term it. I would cry, I would be cranky, I would take it all off on people who I loved. It was horrible. And it went on for almost 6 months. I didn't let my mom go back. I said, you have to stay with me. And a strong, independent woman suddenly became a person who was second guessing everything, you know? And in that journey, the only thing that got me out was dance and fitness because I slowly went back to it. But when I started going back, something started changing, and from there on, the journey began. I'm sorry, I'm just,
Yeah. Of
That's
course. I mean, this entire breast pumping thing even I had like these massive like what do you call it? Like massive hard under
Lumps.
underarms, hard, very hard. I don't know what to call them exactly.
Lumps. They were milk
Lumps,
breast.
yeah, they were lumps, milk lumps, and they were under my arms, and it was very difficult to even raise up my arm, like just second day of the birth. So it was quite.
Soumya, I'll tell you, I vividly remember when it happened. And it is such a societal pressure because of
Yeah.
which it happened to me. It was my daughter's Namkaran. So the house was filled with guests. I was wearing this sari and very, very heavy sari. I knew my breast is full. I knew I'm supposed to go and, pump it out. But there were so many relatives, so many aunties around that I felt guilty leaving and going. Imagine. So I
It
just kept on sitting and namaste, thank you, namaste, thank
I
you.
get that. Oh my God. Recently, one of my friends, she also had a baby, and unke ghar mein, there is this rivaz of ninth day, a massive celebration. And it feels so unnatural to me, Aarti, that the woman is either a vaginal delivery or C-section. She's not ready for people in 9 days, right? So it should be talked about. I mean, why should she be like attending guests when she should only be responsible for attending her baby and herself?
And another funny, weird, non explainable thing is the person who's arranging it either is your mother in law or mother, and both have gone through the same.
Because nobody mindfully uh,
I
takes
would like to.
correction.
No, it's not about the correction, but somewhere I feel that they've forgotten what they've gone through.
Yeah. So we have to remind. All
Yes.
I keep doing is telling that, hey, what they have done, great. We will not, and my daughter won't. I am very clear that my daughter won't go through what I went because my mom felt either it's normal or she's like इतनी बड़ी क्या बात है तुम तो ना छोटी बातों को बड़ा बना देते हो but हम compromise करके क्यों रहे it wasn't easy for me to go through that operation
The
it
way you
wasn't but it छोटा से तो था अरे यार पर
The way you said, na, that you did not let your mother go for 6 months, I remember, like, I left my home. I am from Kashmir. So I left my home post 12th standard. So I've been out from past, like, I would say 7, 8 years, almost 10 years now. And in those 10 years, there was never a time when I used to call her and like, Mama, मेरे पास आके रह लो, because, ठीक है, आप सब कुछ कर रहे हो. But the day I conceived, like the day I delivered my son, and uske baad, the emotions and the amount of missing my mother was absolutely like next level. I cried on the phone. She was here with me. She went to my aunt's place for 2 days only, and I cried. I was like, "Why are you not with me? I need you." And
Chanda, I
trust
did.
me,
You're not going to believe. My mom would go for 2 hours, Soumya. I would cry saying, you don't love me, you don't love your granddaughter. How can you leave? And she's like, what has happened to you?
and I am blessed with with the best mother-in-law, I would say. But still, there was this need of my mother being with me. I don't know why. And when I told her all of this, कि भैया ऐसे ऐसे हो रहा है, I'm feeling all of this, she's like, होता है. मैंने कहा आपको हुआ था ऐसा सब कुछ? कहते पता नहीं. Like she delivered 3 kids and she doesn't remember anything. So
Wow. How Soumya is, this is who we are. We are working women
this
who
is
are
how
also
we
the,
record. This is how
this is
we
how
record.
This
I
is
love
how we record all of our podcasts, because this guy decides to be the most active during the recording. So yeah.
I think he gets it. Mama is gonna get busy.
Yeah. So Aarti, your like what I have felt is a woman who's spent like last 10 years creating a life for herself, and then these little creatures come and your life becomes all about them, right? So for me, I feel like I don't even remember who I was, or like I don't even remember if my previous life was relevant or not. What was that like for you? I mean, when you had your child, was the previous Aarti Ruskin? You want to participate? Okay. So was the previous Aarti and the new Aarti, how did you manage the identity crisis of it? What happened? Because I am going through it right now. What did you do to get over it, or you did not face it, or what was the scene like?
I faced it during my pregnancy. I was a Latin dancer. I have learned salsa, bachata, merengue. I was always my fittest. I was always out there. I was always very social. And when I got pregnant, I started hiding as if I've done some, now people can't see me pregnant. I was 24. Nobody told me, but I still remember I was in a mall and my dance friends were there and I hid that I don't want to show myself. It was very strange. And I quit my job. I was home. It was my husband who pushed me for 1 year. And I decided now my life is this. I have to take care of kids. But I was not a very happy person. And I realized if the woman of the house is not happy, she cannot keep her family happy because it comes out no matter how much you say, oh, I keep it to myself. I'm very nice to my family. No. Whatever is inside you, you're going to pour it out. And I was doing that unknowingly. I was a little irritant. I would be upset that my husband is going off to play golf while I'm sitting at home. I was blaming everyone instead of just saying that, hey, take a step back, plan for yourself, and set your priorities. Nobody's telling you to do it all by yourself. So stop being Jhansi ki Rani. Ask for help. And I did that, Soumya. My husband was the one who said, if you are like this, the whole environment is not
Going to
going
be
to.
affected.
So I sat down. I realized what is the gap. I was lucky enough to have a partner I could communicate. I
Yeah.
was also lucky enough to accept कि है problem. A
Hmm.
lot of time they say नहीं नहीं यही life है, and we put it under the
Yeah.
rug.
True.
And we
True.
continue with this, and that's why when I work with women, I say hello. I was there, so I know it.
Yeah.
Don't
You
make
don't need to like just cover it up.
yes. So does it happen? Absolutely. Can we avoid it? Yes, by women like us talking about what we went through so they don't. I don't know if it was postpartum depression. I can't term it because I was
Not
I
diagnosed or
in
something like that.
2008. People were not talking about all of this.
Mental health. Yeah. It was not a thing back then.
Mental health was also not a thing. If I would say someone, they'll think pagal ho gayi hai.
Yeah.
No?
Simple, very simple
Very
correlation.
simple. Pagal ho gayi hai, satya gayi hai. These were the words you could hear. And I was one of those. It's not that I knew about it. I have done a lot of work, a lot of studies on my and Chandra.
Yeah.
Because I realized one thing, what happened to me shouldn't have. I wish I had a Aarti, was a thought. So I said,
Yeah.
let be there. So identity crisis happened because I had thought I will be the youngest. I was the youngest team leader, the youngest manager, the youngest everything. So I was always, excelling in life. And
Achiever.
suddenly, like, bas maung, life is over. But no, life doesn't have to get over. You can be just a role. The minute you tell yourself a wife is a mother is a role, it doesn't define you. I'm Aarti Pandey. I am not a mother.
Just a mother or just a wife or even for that matter, just a manager or just an MBA. So
Absolutely.
a part of what we are trying to do with Mother of Podcast is also the fact that women like us who've been raised to seek out financial independence and career progression. I'll pick you up. I'll pick you up. Come, sit. What happens is when you pour your blood and sweat into something like that, and you have to take a pause, and there is no preparation for it. There are several women who are never able to come back from this. So a part of what we're trying to do with Mother of Podcast is also that बच्चा पैदा करने की मशीन नहीं है लड़कियां, but at the same time it's only you who can do it, right? So take pride in the fact that you're able to procreate.
So true. And also be okay. Like I'll tell you a very specific incident. I have been earning since graduation, post that I was always independent. And at a subconscious level, my mom has always fed this. You have to be financially independent. You have to be your own person, blah, blah, blah. So it's fed now, right? Cut to I get pregnant, I quit my job, and now I'm dependent on my husband. I used to get salary every first, and now I don't. And I have a great husband, but one of the months he forgot to transfer. It's a very honest mistake. I can't tell you what I went through on that day. As if now what will I do? I am dependent. Ah, la, 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 la. And that what happened when you have strong women at home. I spoke to my mother-in-law, I'm going through this. He didn't transfer money. My mom-in-law took my husband to a corner and said, she's been a strong woman. She's always been earning. Yes, it's a honest mistake. It can't repeat. You don't know what it does to her mentally. And I'm like, it was a matter of just talking. Men don't understand what we go through. We want them to understand. It's an unfair ask. कि आप खुद समझ जाओ. I have learned that speak, explain, and get it. So I was shameless then. Hey, transfer money every month. It gives me mental security. I might not even spend it, but I'm used to seeing a certain amount in my account on first. Just help me out here till I earn. And life is good again. You know, somewhere we create issues because we don't talk about it. And I have learned it.
I
You
think
learned
this
it
is
a
going
hard
to
way,
become
I guess.
this is going to become a therapy session for me now.
Do you realize that she's saying everything that I talked in the first year after having Kabir? Same words.
Same thing. Wow.
These were the same
Oh
words I
my
used to
God.
tell her. These were the same words I used to tell my husband. And now, like last night, we were talking. And I was like, he's like, we were talking something about the money. He was like, I'll not ask for money. Just keep it in my cupboard or just transfer it into my account. He's like, you remember like you were something else. It's like, I am now okay with taking money from you because, hey, I'm raising a kid at home, not earning.
Chanda, just to clear, and I made a reel on this. You're not taking money from him. It
Yeah,
is your.
yes, it is
I
our
always
money. I'm
say
sorry. That's what
it
he
is
says
not
every
his money.
time.
It is not his money.
Yeah, that's
If
what
you're a
she says.
homemaker, if you're a homemaker, you're not using or enjoying his money. It's
Yeah, yeah.
your money. And I want this to be clear.
And Aarti, I think I don't know what kind of time or work will it take. I'm still not there. I'm still not there where his money is my money. Okay.
I talk to
I'm
her
still,
every day about that
yeah,
because
Now,
I'm,
forget everything, all the podcast. This session is for you to explain right now in this moment. Because it's a moment. It's a moment where you have to decide it. We are raised in a way that we are told to be a certain person, and we are attached to that identity. You have to just be
let
okay
it
with
go.
be gone because you're going to create a beautiful new identity.
Yeah, it's quite like, I mean, for me, it was like I felt very parasitic, like feeding off somebody else's hard work, who's my husband, but why is he liable to pay for me? Why?
Is he able to go to office right now while you are doing what you're doing with your toddler? Tell me just, he's sitting there and thinking, why am I able to work while Soumya is handling the baby? It's a joint work. He's not doing any hard work alone.
I get that, but then to accept it, I need some some sort of time, which is happening now. He's
Soumya, you don't need time. It's right now. In this moment, you have to just say that, yeah, it's our money. We are raising the life together. We have the baby together. It couldn't have happened without your egg. It couldn't have happened without his sperm. The baby is both of yours. You are choosing to take it. He's choosing to earn money, and in a while you start earning.
I wanted to know how much time did it take you to reach a point where, now you've started this movement about awareing women and about their hormones and their life and everything around them. So, how was your second pregnancy? Like, were you there while you got pregnant with your son?
So, brilliant question. So, my second pregnancy was remarkably different. I was dancing all 9 months. I was at it. I was dressing up. I was showing off my bump. I did a photo shoot, which I didn't do any of it in my first pregnancy. So the journey from 2008, and I conceived my son in 2013. That journey has been all about self work. I said that I am not going to be this person. So I started researching. I realized I will not go back to the corporate rut. Because you know what I was doing? I was earning a lot of money and spending it over the weekends meaninglessly. There was no purpose to my life. I don't know what I was doing. I was just on the rut of young is this, have to achieve something. But there was no content within. So this self journey also made me realize, what do I want to do in life? So I started with a small dance academy. I would teach salsa, bachata, merengue. I realized, dance is a medium of exercise. So I started a fitness club in Pune. I still felt there is something missing. So I then researched. I was invited to corporates to do a sort of talks, right? So I had a lot of corporate connect, and I did a survey, and the top most issue of women was hormonal imbalance. Now, I'm not a doctor, right? I've just done my American College of Sports Medicine, but I started researching, reading about hormones, PCOS. I must have met more than 200 doctors. And you won't believe, all of them said, it's not reversible. It's just have to be managed with medicines. And somewhere I was like, no. So I started doing everything on me. I was a hardcore non-vegetarian. I changed that. I I understood the importance of breathing, of sleeping, of mental well-being, which I never paid attention to. And that journey got me to the 5 pillars that I introduced through my mission. But yeah, my second pregnancy was my calling, that I'm going to have the most beautiful pregnancy. And I did. And I realized pregnancy is a very beautiful, phenomena that a woman who's lucky to go through.
I was myself a PCOS case, and I have struggled with obesity all since childhood. I have shed off 30 kilos, 35 kilos, gained back. I've done so it's been like a ride for me physically. Okay. And like you said, you researched about hormones and all. I have researched about nutrition. Okay. Like to a depth where I go like insane. In a plate, I can tell you like macro, micro, whatever, whatever. Okay. So when I got married, we were not trying, but we were always okay with the idea that we'll have a child. All right. And I started working on my health because my periods were in a cycle of 60 days, and I was very, very irritated with it because I used to feel bloated and I used to feel irritated, and my sleep was very affected and everything. So I started working on it. I started weight training. I started with myoinositol, and I started with melatonin for good sleep. I started a lot of things. I started with a very, very female friendly diet, let's say. Okay. I removed caffeine from my life for a little bit, and a lot of such things I did. And 1 month I had like this accurate on date period, right? And the next month I missed that date again, but I was continuously doing the same thing. I missed that date, then I missed it another month, and after half of the next month, which is now about 2.5 months, I go to a doctor saying, dude, my periods are not coming. Please figure out what's happening. I'm working out, I'm taking a good diet, I'm doing everything. She does an ultrasound, and there was this guy. So,
Lucky.
and I did not like even check because I thought it's PCOS, right? Because वो 60 days का मैं इतनी used to हो गई थी उस cycle को कि it's probably PCOS.
But you're very lucky, Soumya. I work with women every day, and I have now a community of 38,000 on Facebook. If I'll tell you, my heart goes out. There are women who are 40, 39, struggling to conceive for 6, 7, 8 years. I had a girl who had 10 failed IVFs. Just imagine what her body must have gone through. And all to just see that little one. And us as women have become such a money making machine on the name of becoming pregnant. And we get so scared because you will obviously listen to what the doctors have to say because they are the ones who know it. And the way, I'll tell you, they are being scared, mentally broken down, that you cannot conceive. You start believing it. So I'm so happy to hear this, that it was a smooth journey for you,
Yeah,
but it isn't for many, many women.
I get that. I do get that. Um, So, Aarti, this calls for wrapping up this conversation and going into our next one, which is in fact on this very topic. So, if all of you who are towards the end of this video, hang on, click on the link for the next part of the conversation, which, if you are a woman, I must tell you, you shouldn't miss.
If you're listening to this, you've reached the end of this podcast. We'd love to know if we added any value to your life through our content. Wherever you're listening to this, please leave us a feedback. Tell us what you liked, tell us what you disliked, and tell us what else would you like us to talk about.